Hi, this is Kirk McDow, founder of the Challenge Call. I am a personal and professional coach. And I want to talk today about something that I mention a lot and talk about a lot, which is this idea of inventing your life from nothing. So that, may not have a lot of meaning initially or may not really resonate, or maybe it does. But I want to deepen what I'm talking about is fundamental. It's fundamental for me and where I look from and think from and inquire from in my working with clients. And so my experience is for myself for sure, and really everybody that I work with, is there's an aspect of us that is rather um, mechanical or automatic or unconsidered, and that is this kind of like who we are. Mostly when we think of who we think of where we were raised, or our cultural background, our religious background, our educational background, our family background, key people in our lives, teachers, and we think of those collection of sources is like how we got to be the way that we are. I'm from New Orleans. I'm a coach, or I'm a drummer. I have this personality trait, that personality trait, et cetera, or this background. And while that's all super valid, a lot of our past really colors kind of our perception of the world and so forth, and it's pretty clear and it's pretty obvious. However, another idea is that the past really has nothing to do with who we are, and who we are is a function of our future, or the future that we're living into. So you may have had the experience of perhaps getting your heart broken when you were younger, and you made a decision about how relationships are, or how you know potential partners are, the opposite sex or whatever. Or you may have a created opinion about who you are and what's possible for you in relationships. After getting heartbroken, that big bright possibility is not there, and it looks a little scarier and darker and less friendly and less safe to be in a relationship. And then that colors what's possible for you in the future. So with regard to many people come to me with business related issues. And one thing I notice is who's running the business, meaning the person who's calling me, the business owner, the entrepreneur, who's running the business hasn't really created who they are and what their life is for. Let me just pause there. Haven't created who they are and what their life is for. And what I mean by that is, rather than having an automatic relationship to oneself on my collection of histories, experiences, upbringing, whatever, and that's who I am. While that's valid, it's not created. It's just sort of by default and handed to you. But I'm suggesting that you could literally create a clean slate in your life, like unconnect or unhinge or unattach yourself from your collection of experiences, your past, and literally create a clean slate in your future where nothing currently exists. So you're not reacting from the past. You're not making decisions based on how things went in the past or your prediction about the future even. You're literally just creating who you are and what your life is for. So an example for me is, one thing that I've created is that who I am is love and contribution. And then I build my business and my personal life around that possibility, the possibility of love and contribution. Now, if you look at me, I look like a human being, and if you know something about me, you'll know something about my past and history, and you'll say, no, you're not love and contribution, you're Kirk, or you're this or you're that. And while that's valid, I'm suggesting that my creation of myself as love and contribution is as valid as anything else, and it has the added advantage of actually being created by me in a state of being conscious and being inspired and really looking at my life and what do I want, and that's what I created, and that's what I'm creating, that I'm love and contribution. And then I have this coaching business, and I the test for any choice I make in my business, whether it's at the level of interaction or an overall strategy for my business or initiative I'm considering or whatever, the number one test that it has to pass is, does this fulfill the possibility of love and contribution? So one aspect of, and I'm just using this as an example, but one aspect of my business is the challenge call, and that's the name of the business. But the challenge call is also a a thing. It's a 30-minute coaching call that I give away freely as often as possible, because that fulfills the possibility for me of love and contribution. It fulfills who I am in the world. It's the fulfillment of what my life is for, to be loving and to contribute to people. And so that passes the test. The challenge call is a fulfillment of contribution and love, because it's awesome, and I get really great. People really have breakthroughs in that 30 minutes. They're usually wildly surprised and delighted and all that. So it does fulfill that, but it also markets my business. So it fulfills at least two intentions, probably a few more. But that would be an example of an effective marketing strategy that independently totally fulfills the possibility of love and contribution. Yes, that'd be an example of something in my business that I created out of love and contribution, right? So I didn't create the challenge call and the concept behind it as a reaction to anything or anything like that. Oh my gosh, I need to get clients, I need to come up with this thing. No, what do I want to create that would fulfill the possibility of love and contribution? So that's an example, right? And that's my example, and that's one of several examples I could create. But so if we turn the camera back over to you, what we're talking about is this idea of, completing, and that's a word that may or may not resonate with you, but really owning, looking at, accounting for, being responsible for everything in your past. Like, everything in your past is yours, so you're going to pick up the tab, and you might as well, because it's there whether you do that or not. Your past is your past. There's nothing you can do about that. However, you could, while honoring your past, like literally just create that my past is not who I am, my circumstances is not who I am, and who I am is who I say I am, and my say has a say, like my declaration has a say, and then what is my life for, and all that's created, so anyway, I want to just talk a little bit about that. I throw that term around, creating one's life from nothing, creating a life from nothing. I say that a lot, and that's really what I mean, this idea of being complete and peaceful about every aspect of your life, and then looking at where you're at now and what do you want to create, and then creating with no constraints, not as a response to anything, but just from nothing, from a possibility that you create, and so everybody's going to create their own possibility. You can steal mine if you like, love and contribution. I recommend it. I think it's awesome. However, you could create any possibility that moves you, that inspires you, that enlivens you, that pulls you forward, right? And then you get to create what your life is for. Games and your business, your family, your personal life, anything you want. And you could have everything in your life actually fulfill the same possibility. Now, how do you do that, and what are the strategies, and what are the pitfalls and so forth? Well, that's where a coach comes in, or at least somebody that you can talk to regularly, who can hear who you are as a possibility, your own declaration, and who can align, who can be your partner in creating a future that fulfills that possibility. So anyway, thanks for indulging me. I hope this was valuable. If you have a distinction or something you'd like me to distinguish, I love doing these, and I've got a little list, but I'm happy to include suggestions. Anyway, thanks a lot. Kirk McDow, The Challenge Call. Talk to you soon. Take care.